Hey everyone. Today's video I'm going to show you how I set up a Pro Tools session. So it's easy to know how to get started with YouTube, and this is what I do with all of my sessions when I'm doing retro rock and roll or when I'm working with a client. So let's dive in, and let's start with a clean slate. So here I have Pro Tools already open, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, New, and then I'm going to explain what this window um, it's about and how I set up my session. So first, let's look at the name. The name is important if you want to be organized and you want to keep everything nice and tidy. So this is my approach. The first thing I do is I write the artist name. So artist name goes there. And then I write the song that I'm working on. Song name. Then what I do is in brackets, not in parentheses, but in brackets, I put what I'm doing specifically. So for example, I may be doing pre-production. Usually I start with pre-production, or maybe I'm just actually doing the production or the recording. Or maybe I'm doing the mixing, or maybe I'm doing the editing. So wherever step you are, or whatever you're doing, that's what I put in the brackets. So let's say that this will be pre-production or pre-pro. Then I close the bracket, and then I put the date. In the date, I put today. Let's say it says August 6th, 2026, and I try to keep the date condensed. So I don't use I don't do 08, 06, 2026 because it's already understood that this is August 6th, 2026. And that keeps everything nice and tidy. Let's say that maybe I wasn't doing pre-pro. Maybe I was doing the actual recording. So I would write recording. Or if I was doing, now I'm in the editing part. Maybe I do editing. And I'm going to show you in a few seconds. Even if I start in one step, I do save as, and then I rename it. And I'll show you that in a few minutes. And if I'm ready to do the mixing, I don't write mixing. What I do is I write pass and then one. And then if I get revisions, mix notes, and I get revisions, then I do pass two, so on and so forth. All right, so let's just leave this at pre-pro for now. All right, so that is the artist name. Where I save it, I always prompt for location because I want the Finder window. This I'm using a Mac. I want the Finder window to pop up, and I want to specify where I want to save this project or this session. So always prompt for location. All right, now let's look at the session configuration and what this means and why I use what I use. Let's look at the file type. First is WAV. Always use WAV. That's lossless, that's uncompressed, that's pure audio recording. You don't want anything less than that. Sample rate, I use 48. Some use 44.1. I use 48. I think that's the sweet spot. I don't use 96. The files are just way too big and I don't hear a difference. 48 is the sample rate is perfect. The bit depth 24. I know that some use 16, but 24 I feel that you get more data and I think it's best. 32 bit flow, I don't mess with that either. It's just, I think 48, 24, it's the best. It's the sweet spot. It's the best way to record today, where your file size are not huge, like they're not like ridiculous, and you still are providing a professional, high quality sound. Right. Now let's look at the I/O settings. This I always change. I always use stereo mix. I don't like using last use because then that carries over some of the bus routing that you probably have done and you want to start clean. So I always use stereo mix. Then interleave. I always make sure this is checked because when I bounce a file, I want the file to be in stereo and I don't want two mono files. Because if I'm going to share this with a client or if I'm bouncing um, the track to put for my retro rock and roll videos. I want this to be in stereo. And then that's it. When I hit create, what's going to pop up is my Finder window, and then it's going to ask me where I want to save it. So I'm going to just click create, and then say here I have my retro rock and roll sessions, and then I can save it here, and then it'll create a new folder. So that's how I start my Pro Tools sessions when I am doing a band. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to be doing more Pro Tools specific tutorials, but also covering a lot of things that I do and recording and mixing, especially with retro rock and roll. So I hope you enjoy this, and until next time, happy mixing.